Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. A very warm welcome to Meet Menaca, episode 85. We are going to discuss overcoming body shaming with Sadia Salam today, who's a management accountant in London. Why are we talking about overcoming body shaming today? Body shaming is very prevalent, and we can see the effects of it in social media, in media, and we hear about it amongst friends and family. It can have major effects. So what is body shaming? Is the act of saying something negative about a person's body or a physical appearance. It can be about someone's else as well, close to them. The commentary can be about their size, the age, even about their hair, the clothes. And I think it's about a level of someone's perceived attractiveness. It can lead to mental health issues, including eating disorders, depression, anxiety, low esteem, and body dysmorphia at its extreme. And it causes a general feeling of hating one's body. Many suffer in silence and try their best to hide it from their close ones. So how does someone overcome body shaming? So let's find out more with Sadia, because she is an accountant by profession, but she has come forward to talk about her personal experiences about body shaming and how you can overcome it. Welcome to our talk show. Meet Menaca is all about featuring experts sharing their knowledge and real people sharing real stories. It's a vibrant 90-minute multicultural online talk show to celebrate each and every one of you. It's a free event. You can register to join us by registering on a link which is shared all the social media platforms. Please reach out to us at meet@menaca.co if you want any more details regarding that. You can see a whole library of past videos in the YouTube channel Meet Menaca. So please support us to add value, share these inspirational messages, and creating positive change and be the change maker yourself. And if you want to be notified whenever we upload the videos, please hit the bell icon. So Sadia Salam, she is a part qualified management accountant working for London and Partners, a London's business growth and destination agency. Today, she's joining us on the show to share her personal experience as a victim of body shaming and how she has overcome it. I'm really passionate about this topic because I've seen the ill effects of it around me. A huge thank you for you, Sadia, for agreeing to come and talk about your personal experiences, which I know is not easy.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Sadia. Now, we hear so much about body shaming. It is about, in my opinion, or what I have read, is about ridiculing and mocking a person's physical appearance. What is body shaming in simple terms for you, Sadia?
For me, it is about comments about people's weight and their appearance, from the shape of their thighs to their tummy, to them wearing glasses or braces.
Would it be fair to say it's even about having piercings or wearing tattoos or someone's health conditions, like, for example, alopecia? We saw the effects of it recently on the award ceremonies and what happened following that, right? What kind of emotions it can evoke in people. It's also about awareness, isn't it? Sometimes people are not aware they are body shaming someone else.
Because they may have medical conditions or they may have reasons for it per se, which people don't know what is going on behind the scenes.
Thank you so much. You mentioned a few. Can you give examples of body shaming in your experience then?
So in my experience, if you keep eating like that, you're going to end up being a whale, per se. I don't know what you're doing, but you're looking much healthier. So this is from someone going from a bigger shape to a thinner shape, not just, instead of praising them and saying, oh, you look great, which would be a much nicer way. If you stay like that, you're going to unable to get married or find a boy, or per se, as well. And then don't wear a bikini because you're going to look fat in it, for example, as well.
It's not always explicit, right?
No, indirectly, but also direct. So it's like a half and half per se.
Yes, I have also heard when for example, a teenager or child is tall, you will find it difficult to find the groom for yourself. Or where are you going to find someone? Or if you lost a bit of weight, you will look much nicer. There are myriads of ways you can tell. And sometimes, as I mentioned, perhaps people are not even aware what they are doing is body shaming. I have learned wearing a traditional dress or having tattoos or even physical appearance like alopecia, as I already mentioned, can be ridiculous. I think most of us know and read in the media recent comments during the Academy Awards involving body shaming. When did you start realizing that some comments were body shaming in your personal experience?
It took me a couple of years, probably the last year or so, because in Asian society, people always make comments about your appearance or your shape, or if you wear glasses or have not the thickness of the hair, because they associate that with looking pretty and being a woman. And because you're so used to hearing these comments within Asian society, you don't think anything of it, and they tend to bounce off you. It's only when people are highlighting it more and the way women are feeling, as well as men sometimes, who also sometimes get body shamed too. But I feel women get targeted more for it.
When did you start realizing that it is actually body shaming for yourself in your personal experience?
Last year, most likely.
Thanks, Sadia. I know it is not a nice feeling when you are involved in body shaming. And I have seen kids, even adults, long after those comments were made, people have had these effects carrying forward. So what were the effects of these comments on you? And how did it make you feel, Sadia, if I can ask?
So it made me have low self-esteem. It made me feel angry as well, in terms of feeling targeted, as well as worthlessness and having no confidence, and feeling that I didn't look good enough.
Thank you, Sadia. Our audiences are participating from Sri Lanka, India, Oman, UAE, Canada, USA, and the UK. So it's a myriad of different cultural backgrounds. So what would your advice be, how to deal with body shaming? We know now, like particularly looking at the events, we know not being confrontational, but yet making efforts to stop that unreasonable behavior, isn't it? How to deal with this body shaming then?
Well, at first I stayed silent and didn't say anything because it was easier. But then I went back and said, it's about being fit and healthy and being happy within yourself, per se, because when I did lose the weight, I didn't have the strength, and I felt quite weak. But at the beginning, I was exercising loads and checking what I was eating. And then when I lost it, I was weighing myself constantly, because I thought, oh my goodness, if I put anything back on, because when you go from being big to losing it all of a sudden, it's quite an achievement, as well as people commenting. So you think you need to stay like that. But then when I didn't feel as strong and weak, I realized it's about being fit and healthy, and being yourself and understanding your body and what works for you.
Yes, and being fit and healthy is very different shapes and different people, isn't it?
Sizes, because nobody's going to be the exact shape or the thinness of what we see in media images and pictures. And that's why it's good in that the last 5-6 years that people like Jennifer Lopez and Beyonce have come out to say, embrace your curves, embrace your different shapes, as well.
Big people in fashion industry is becoming a thing, rightly so. It is definitely taking a turn for the better. You didn't acknowledge in the beginning. You said you kept silent because that was easier to do. Afterwards, how did you address those comments?
I didn't do it directly because a lot of it came from elder aunties and things like that. So I was always like, I can lose the weight. That's not important. It's not, that doesn't define a person.
I think it is really important for everyone to realize, only that particular person realize what is good for us, isn't it? I think that's the most important thing. Regardless what shape, size, how we look, colorism is another thing, or some communities, colorism is a huge thing as well. Our health effects, you don't know unless you haven't walked in their shoes. Don't take the liberty to say something about them or their lifestyle or how they look. If they are happy in the way they look and feel, and I think that is the best thing for them. And you know, that is a thin line, isn't it, to know that and not to react. And I can tell, not for body shaming per se, but from keeping quiet, it used to be my go-to thing because it's so much easier. And they say, you say it best when you say nothing at all. But that works for some. Unfortunately, that comes across as weakness for some others. You know, they think, oh, if she or he is keeping quiet, which means we can tell a bit more and push the boundary a bit furthermore, which is not right as well. I think it is important also to make them realize what they're saying is affecting you negatively. Sometimes they're not aware of it. When you don't feel comfortable, I think it is also important to say, no, I don't appreciate you saying that because it doesn't make me feel good. And I think that is also important. And the third thing, and I think more important thing is for me, is as I grew older and become wiser way, I have managed to keep people closer to me who nourish me and nurture me, and get rid of people who demean me and who don't say nice things and who are not, that's not very good for your mental well-being. I think that's important for us as trainers, coaches, as leaders, as elders in the families. It's important to pass that message on to our young generation, because we grew up, including myself, we grew up saying no or not agreeing to what other people are saying, particularly older generation, is being rude. You have to always kind of almost force to confirm with everything what they say and do. And it is not always right. You don't have to be confrontational or rude, but you can always politely say that is not accepted. I think that's my take on this. What do you think, Sadia?
Yes, I agree. But unfortunately, the older generation don't see it as being rude. They see it as being normal. So it's very hard to change that narrative. But we're all trying, per se, and we're trying to say to them, maybe word it differently or see beyond that as well.
So how did you learn about these, to face these comments and effects? What helped you to learn about that and face these comments more positively, Sadia?
So we need to be kind to ourselves. I learned to accept myself for me, and see that not everybody's the same shape, doesn't look the same and whatnot. And I learned to have a thicker skin and let the comments bounce off me, per se. I was still upset inside, but on the front, I put the persona that it doesn't bother me, because this is me, is the attitude I took and whatnot. And I learned to love myself. And that was through the encouragement of friends and family. And I joined in exercise classes, which were fun and exciting. And there were a bunch of women who were always advocating and encouraging, no matter what. And it wasn't a crime if you ate loads or if you didn't, or if you changed your hair per se and had it really short. They didn't care and whatnot. Because again, it's trying to change the stereotype. And that not everybody follows the same way. Some people have short hair, some people have no hair as well, you know, as well as, like you said, like with the tattoos and everything too. So it's just trying to give the different images and different, as well as just realize this is your body.
Provided we respect it ourselves and make no harm, I think we don't have to apologize to anyone else, really, for who we are. I was listening to you and I was thinking there's a thin line, like you said, between genuine advice someone gives. For health reasons, people could say, if you drop a few kilos or drop a few pounds, you might be safer, you might not got the metabolic syndrome, you have the family history, so you have to be more careful, and the body shaming comments. What would you say, Sadia? How can you differentiate between these two? Because it's a thin line, isn't it? Sometimes people really tell you for your good. For example, doctors, when you go to doctors, they would often say, including myself, they would say, okay, fine, you have a family history, might be you dropping a few pounds might be healthier for you, or even your own friends and family who have your best interest at heart might tell you that. But someone else might say, you look a bit big. What have you been doing? Suddenly you seem slightly bigger, or like you said, you look much better now, since you have lost a bit of weight. So that's a very thin line between the two, isn't it? So what would you say?
I would say when you go to the doctor, to try and take those comments on board, because they're obviously doing it for your health reasons, and they're not trying to do it sorry, I can't say the word. They're not trying to be negative. They're trying to do it for your good health and whatever. They're not saying to you just drop massively, but just so you're not at the risk of developing certain diseases per se, or things happening to your body with that. When other people say it, they are saying it because of what they've seen as a stereotypical pictures and what you should look like per se. They're not coming, and that's what it sounds like to me, in my opinion, that they're not coming from a good or trying to say that for health reasons or whatnot. They are saying it because of the appearance, the image, and what they perceive as a normal looking way.
And I have both experiences. I have very close friends and family members who are doctors, and they would say, you should perhaps exercise a bit more, so that you don't have this as you grow older, and quite reasonable. And then till date, there are people who say, like in Tamil, Amma Madri Vadivilla, because means comparing to my mom, you still haven't got that looks, or something like that, So it's always this constant comparison, isn't it? As you get older and wiser, you learn, you become thick-skinned, and you don't really care. It's your problem, not mine. But when you're younger, however, it's a totally different ballgame. It does affect you. It affects your confidence level. And I think this show is more importantly about raising awareness. When you utter those words, even if you are thinking you are telling something for the best interest of someone else, to think again before you tell it. How will that particular person is going to perceive it? How is it going to come across? Is there any better, more sensitive way to tell it? Isn't it, Sadia? It is really important. The reason you are telling your story is hoping people will stop before telling these things to someone else, right?
Yes, because when you're younger, you're more impressionable. You're still trying to fit in. You're still trying to find yourself, as well as fit in with school. So what your peers say and what they follow is very important. And again, it's easy for me to say, as I'm an older self, and not when I was, for the younger people to say, don't take those comments so importantly, and see that it's not about you, it's about their insecurities, or their coming, or their place maybe, or for another reason within them. It's about being happy and confident and loving yourself and respecting the way you look per se, which I know is much more difficult for younger people as well. And it's not good for people to keep making comments on your appearance.
Yeah, I think we talk about the weight more, but in being short, being tall, it's across the board. People talk about these things. And As a coach and a trainer, I have worked with many people who are very successful professionals in their own right. But what has been told to them as when they were much younger has a huge impact on their health, mental health, particularly even today. Initially, when I started doing the coaching and training, I was really surprised because particularly certain professions, doctors, dentists, lawyers, barristers, you think they're made up of a bit of tough skin, like they have seen it all, they've heard it all, but it doesn't spare anyone. It doesn't. And you yourself is a successful accountant. You're sitting here and telling me how it affects you. I think that is also what people should realize. You have to be really, really sensitive about what you say. So, Sadia, I know that is one part. You have overcome it to a great extent now. Would you be happy to share your experience of dealing with body shaming and how you overcame it? That's the most important thing, isn't it? You said to me that you have friends and family supporting you. What else did you do to overcome that and put it behind you and say, that doesn't really matter?
To overcome it, I would say I took on exercise, but I learned to like it and have fun and be happy with my shape because I wanted to get fit and healthy was my reasoning behind it. And in terms of the comments, I would say it's taken me a very long time because like you said, people keep saying it and it sticks in your head and it does stick with you. But again, like I said, with friends and family, building me up and seeing beyond that and telling me that it's not the end all and be all, be happy, be healthy. And again, I love my food too much. So I realized I could give it up and be miserable, but at the end of the day, I want to be happy, I want to be strong, and I want to be healthy is what I see and what it came down to for me.
In case you don't know, because perhaps this is your first experience on the show, they call me the chocoholic dentist. So I do love my chocolates. But it is about having the balance, isn't it?
Yes.
And I think sometimes these comments, people don't realize is you have a low self-esteem. You think you're not good enough. Instead of not reaching out to the chocolates, you finish the whole bar of chocolates. Or you finish the whole bowl of...
I would go for more food and just eat more. So in terms of them thinking that they're saying those things to stop me from eating, I just eat because my go-to was anything bad or upset, I would eat. That was my way of dealing with things. So like you said, those comments don't help. But in other extreme cases, some people may go to anorexia because those comments affect them so badly that they're thinking, oh my gosh, I have to stop. So there's two extremes to it and two sides of it as well.
It is so important that you mentioned anorexia bullying. It is so true because it's a body image is everything for them. And particularly, I will come to it a bit later with social media and the media showing all airbrush, super curve, zero size women everywhere, and macro men and zero size women. Isn't it two extremes? Ideal life, we know not many exist like that. That is so important to realize. The harms can be disastrous. So even if your own children, your nieces, nephews, and people who you work with, be very careful with what you say. I can't help but reiterate this message again and again. Today, if somebody is facing these issues, which is a real issue, you and me, we both know this happens, what would your advice be to anyone who is facing that issue today, Sadia?
My advice would be try and let it bounce off you. But again, why is it so important to you? What do you see in yourself? And why is it necessary for them to make those comments? Because they don't know you. They don't know who you are really. You know yourself. So again, be kind always to yourself. And really, we all look much better than we think we do as well. We just don't realize it because we wait for somebody to comment on how good we look or bad we look because we're expecting it because that's the norm. But again, it's just to love yourself and see that you are doing well and you are good and that you are in yourself look great, as always.
Yes, I would agree. Like, I'm a big fan of affirmations as well. And, you can go and Google for people who want to look up affirmations. There are hundreds of them, millions of them actually. And there's someone called Mel Robbins. She talks about high-fiving every day in the morning or the mirror. That is another thing. There are so many ways you could do that. Like you said, Sadia, the most important thing is to accept you for who you are. We all want other people to somehow affirm how you look.
Yeah.
We're never enough. We don't think what we say is good enough. How we look is good enough. It's how other people perceive is so much more important than what we think or how we perceive ourselves. And I think that is fundamentally flawed. And I think that's the problem. That is from there all the other issues come through, right?
Yes.
Because if we are not sure how we look, if we are not sure how we say things, or if we are not sure how good we are in something, we are constantly looking for that outside us.
Yes. Yeah.
And
sorry to interrupt, to remember that it's not bad to be different. It's okay as well. And if you are not like everybody, it's okay as well.
We are all unique, right? I mean,
yes.
God, universe, whatever you believe in, everyone has been made uniquely for a reason. One of my mentors used to tell, you're born to stand out. Why would you want to fit in? Why do you want to work so hard to fit in? And it's so true. Every one of us, each one of us is unique, and we can stand out in our own good way. And I think stop being so harsh on yourself and try to fit in with everyone else. I think that will be my message as well. Thank you so much. On the flip side, it's beyond my comprehension to understand why people shame others' physical appearance. Do you have any idea why do people body shame others?
I think it's due to media persona and what people have seen from when they started growing up, and the fact that there's a stereotypical mold that they expect people to fit and like in terms of weight, in terms of shape, and as well as with skin color and race, and things like that. For example, like the celebrity Rebel Wilson has lost loads of weight, and she's always defined in articles now as the new slim down Rebel Wilson. They always put that in. And again, there was another article about a celebrity where she'd lost a lot of weight. And the first thing they said in the article is, we don't know why or how she's lost weight. Again, it's not relevant. It's not important with why she's lost or done it, or again, change their looks. It's, again, people's different identities, people feeling different and wanting changes, or to just look different because they feel different and confident in themselves, maybe. So it comes a lot from the media and people's perspectives of what they know and what they've seen from generations before. Now they're starting to use curvy and different sizes on fashion shows, in magazines, even on sports TV shows. Like the presenters were all male. And even if they did have a female on there, she was always thin, always made up, full makeup and the trendy clothes. Now they're starting to have different representatives and different races presenting, as well as different body shapes and different looks. So it is trying to evolve, but it has taken a long time. I think it stems a lot from media, as well as what people have seen and known from growing up, and what they expect you to look like. And a woman, it's always been to be thin sized and have the long hair and have the full, thicker hair and always be made up and look a certain way, per se.
We were told and want to be looking like princesses,
yes.
Isn't it? It
yes.
comes from Disney. They did a good job of it. And now plus size models is a thing, thankfully, so which is a good thing. But my take on it would be my personal take on it is, no one who is happy with themselves ever demeans someone else. or degrades others, isn't it? If you are happy with yourself, you are content with yourself. I think that's another reason. If you're not good enough, you are in that bubble, you want to pull other people into that same bubble so that you don't feel lonely and sad. You are in a group. So my take on it is sometimes don't take it seriously. Think about the other person's status. Why are they saying what they're saying? Sometimes certain things I have done, I speak about many things openly, and I do what my heart says, and I follow my heart to take many decisions. And sometimes the criticism is because they would love to do it, but they wouldn't want to do it or feel the consequences of it. And they would want to portray it as, you are doing something wrong. So it is the same thing with looks or the way you dress, like tattoos or piercings. In some cultures, particularly South Asian cultures, piercing in the nose or piercing in your ears is appreciated, right? You look traditional, you look very good. But the moment you start doing the piercing somewhere else, that's not right. That's not acceptable. And it's the same goes with tattoos. Certain places look fashionable in certain other cultures, and not certain other places when you have the tattoo is not right. So it or what kind of tattoo you have is determines whether you how you are looked at. So I think it is all depending also on the other person's mental state of wanting. The second thing, exactly why you said, is conforming to the society, isn't it?
Yes.
Because we try hard to conform to the society where we are brought up in many, many ways. And the way we look and present ourselves is one thing. Hence, such a way of dressing is not accepted. Or such a tattoo. And you mentioned the short hair. Yes, definitely. The true personality of someone is so much bigger than how they appear, their physical appearance, isn't it, Sadia? I think that's the message we have to drive home, really.
Yes. And it's also within the cultures and learning to manage both as well as be yourself. Not to say fit, but just so you still have your culture plus your own identity as well. And I think because a lot of our parents were first generation, and when they came, they didn't realize that you can still be feminine in different ways. You don't have to have all the frills and bells. Not that I'm saying there's anything wrong with that, because some people do love that, but others may not as well. So I think it's learning to adapt with that as well as be yourself. And that there is nothing wrong with changing and adapting and making tweaks here and there for yourself.
Thanks, Sadia. Totally. As the generations come by, I think we will evolve with time, I'm sure. So we all know social media has a great impact on self-esteem and mental health. What is your take on it? How is social media adding to the body shaming issue?
I think it adds a lot to the body shaming issue, because it shows people always, not everybody, but majority, that they always look done up, that they look perfect, and that this is the norm. Some people show both sides, like when they're not in full makeup or when they're barefaced. Again, it does come from confidence and feeling able to put it out there, because it's not, I would say social media is a snapshot, and just showing a certain part of people's lives is what they tend to post, and not them just being natural as well. And because a lot of people post it that way, people see that they have to follow that, and that is the norm, to always look good and look made up and whatnot. Again, but there are people showing both sides of their lives, where they're natural and where they don't have any makeup on, as well as when they are got makeup on, because we do all want to look good as well in ourselves. But I feel that social media has contributed to mental health and to body shaming. Again, they need to have more different sizes, because obviously there is the number of certain posts that Instagram will show automatically or will come above other posts. So I don't think that's right, because you don't know what they're picking it on, what they're basing it on as well, those logarithms per se.
I think algorithms work in a very different way, but the more engagements you get shows to more people, because they want more business. Obviously, more people are seeing you're a good catch. But I think more importantly for me, what is interesting is the filters, isn't it? On Instagram particularly,
Yes.
When you put it, they will themselves give you the filters to make you feel better, and you can tweak them. No filters has become a thing. Hence, we are using so many filters so that, once in a while you can go with no filters.
Or people change completely the look and whatnot and stuff. I don't use filters at all. What I post is what you see and who I am. Because I think you should show the real self, and this is who you are. B, I don't know how to use filters either. So, but even if I did, I wouldn't put it on for myself, because I want to show that you can be real and you can be who you are, and it doesn't matter what you look like, and you don't need filters, because really the genuine people will like and love your posts for who you are, really. And people who post those negative comments aren't good people. So you either just block them or you ignore them. Is the best way to try and deal with that.
Thank you so much, Sadia. I have known particularly school children and teenagers have had devastating effects because of the social media posts and low self-esteem, because they look, like you say, everyone's life, forget about looks, everyone's life looks perfect in social media anyway. We are always dining and fine dining, going on good holidays and having great time. Life isn't that, right? Life is full of ups and downs. We have peaks and troughs. That's how life works. But it's exactly the same with the looks as well. Unfortunately, as kids particularly, when you are growing up as school children or teenagers or young adults, they are not realizing it, and they don't realize it. And their world is so much more engaged in virtual world. They don't meet people as much as we meet people in the flesh and blood. They most of their interactions is through virtual media. And I think so the effects of it is also so much more on them because of that. So many people you interact, you don't even meet. Even this talk show, because it was born during the pandemic and lockdown, many people who we met were only virtually, only slowly, and we started meeting people in the flesh and blood. So it is becoming the norm for many people. You don't really meet the other person from online dating to virtual media to social media, everything, right? So it is a thing. It is becoming the world. I think, like you said, what images we put on those medias are also going to have a great impact. I really appreciate people who putting both sides, with no filter and the filter, or with the makeup, with no makeup, because that shows people what kind of difference it make people appreciate. There can be huge difference of how someone is and how someone can appear, particularly with airbrushing and the high end editing of the photographs. Don't you agree, Sadia? For me personally, they're doing a better job, because they're showing the world how it can be tweaked, and it's not always what it seems.
Yes, and I think that's the misconception for young people, because they think it does look like that, it is perfect, and you can get this lifestyle easily, which is not the case, and not everything's perfect, because again, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes in people's lives.
Sure. Thanks, Sadia. We are all part of the society. Individually, we all make up the society. How and what could a society do to try to eliminate this body shaming issue, in your opinion, Sadia?
Choose their words more carefully. And I'm maybe repeating myself, but just have different images of different appearances, men and women, shapes, sizes, race. So young people can relate to them, and that they see, oh, that there is that person in me. Like, for instance, Disney is trying, like within Encanto, in terms of having a different race. And they also showed with Frozen that it's the sisters' love that could raise them, that you didn't need a man to get you to that place or raise you up there. So it's a case of just giving everybody the confidence and that you can do this as well. And the narrative is slightly changing, but they need to do a bit more. And like I said, not always use the diet phase or shove another diet in the magazine or TV in our faces, saying that you have to lose weight, that you have to look this way, is what the perception comes, in my opinion, to me. So I think just have different representatives of different people as well. And
the Netflix production is definitely embracing different colors, for sure. Colorism is definitely being addressed, and people are trying to be inclusive, for sure. And the plus size modeling is coming through. But as a society, locally or at a small level, what we can perhaps do is to raise the awareness, isn't it? Talk shows like this, or discussions like this, or debates like this, and let people talk about these things openly and honestly to show what kind of effect it has on someone. And thank you so much, Sadia. Honestly, I do really appreciate you having the courage to come on a show like this and talk about it, knowing full well this is going to be on the YouTube later, and it can be seen and heard by anyone and everyone. Thank you so much, because it takes a lot of courage for you to be able to come and talk about these issues. And hence we have addressed many issues on this platform, which we think should be addressed, but people are reluctant to address or talk about. This is one such issue. At a societal level, I hope this will be the beginning of talking about body shaming at a deeper level, a bit more frequently than not, because particularly, I think in schools, they should talk about these things, particularly in certain cultures more than others, where we tend to have everything under the carpet instead of that.
Yes, or just if your kids are getting it from elders and old, like different generations, try and share with them that it's not important, that this is just what they know, and that at the end of the day, you still are great and amazing, and to just cheer us all on completely, because we're all amazing and intelligent and beautiful in our own ways as well. Just the last point I wanted to finish on.
Yes, it is important. Yes, everybody is unique and beautiful in their own way. 100%. I do definitely agree with that. If you want our audience, as I said, they have come from, at least on the screen, I can see people from India, from Canada, from America, from the UK, and I think one from Sri Lanka. So what can they take home today? And what would you want them to go home today and tell their family and friends? This is what I heard about body shaming today. And I think this is what we should talk about and do actively to prevent this issue going forward.
So I think they should take away is that be kind to people, careful with your words, what you say and how you say it. And if they do get upset, explain where you're coming from and understanding, as well as to understand that you are confident and that the perception is different and you can be different and you do not have to fit the mold to take away from this.
One last question. If you are new to this talk show, what has been your experience and what are your thoughts about the talk show? Any suggestions, any feedback?
Put me on the spot. Yes, it's really an informative talk show. As a host, you were great with the questions and explaining and backing it up as well. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Sadia. It's such a pleasure to have you, and I think it's a very important topic to address. I'm not hesitant to say in some communities than others. It's high time we start talking about topics which are really important to be addressed. And I really appreciate your courage for coming and talking about so candidly. We will be having our show on the 24th of April. Now, over to Kirbe Kohut to give the word of thanks.
Hello, everybody. On behalf of Meet Menaca, celebrating you, real life, real stories, we would like to thank all those who are on Facebook. I think it's really an interesting topic. And we'd like to thank you for your support, and for all those who are coming on Zoom live. We will also like to support you and support us as we support each other and learning together real life, real stories, and important topics. Last but not least, to our esteemed guest speaker, Sadia, you are amazing. And as everyone knows on this platform, I always love to use the name as an acronym. And I would say S stands for you being a very young, sassy lady.
Thank you.
Admirable, determined to be this advocate for body shaming. And I wish you all the best. Inspirational, and A standing for authentic.
Thank you.
Being skinny is okay. Not being skinny is also okay. Having curves is okay. Not having curves is also okay. Being bald is okay. Being not bald and not having hair is okay. Bashing someone for their body type or their personality is not okay. I believe when we shame others, we are basically trying to validate ourselves. So let's encourage, let's build each other up, and let's be the person holding someone, hand holding someone and saying, let's walk together in this journey of empowering one another. And with that, Sadia, thank you very much. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kiribati. Thank you, Kiribati. Thank you, Sadia, once again for talking about such an important topic. And thank you, everyone who is on the platform today to talk and listen about this important issue. Your turn will come to put the question straight to Sadia after this. And thank you for people who are listening to us on Facebook and supporting us. Please support us to create an impact, also to share these messages across the globe by subscribing to the channel Meet Menaca. Thank you so much. For people who are on Facebook listening to us, it has come to that time of the day to say goodbye. Until we see you in 2 weeks on the 24th of April, stay safe, be happy, and keep smiling, and have a great Easter holiday all.